Good morning, Flagler. The doctors are in. I'm Dr. Scott Cleos.
And I'm Dr. Andrea Cleos.
And we are here once again to talk about your health and health issues right here in Flagler, Volusia, and St. Johns County. I got to let you guys know I'm here under duress. It's Tuesday night. All right, we're doing this on Tuesday night, and Andrew's like, we got to do a radio show because I'm going out of town.
Yep, I've got to go to the obesity conference.
She's
so when
going
I come
to the
back,
obesity.
I can't wait to teach you guys more
she's going to be all full of
science of heart and obesity.
She's going to be all full of fat knowledge when she comes back. So, But she's like, we got to do a radio show. So it's like 8:15, and I usually go to bed around 8:30.
7:30.
Yeah, 7:30 sometimes. So we got to do a radio show. So I am here under duress, in my underwear, under duress.
Terrible.
What a picture that is.
But I know you guys look forward to hearing what we have to say on Sunday mornings on your way to church.
Yep. All three of our listeners.
Starting your morning.
Yep. There they go.
So we want to inspire you to think healthy and do new things. We're getting a lot more people coming to Shield of Life. We're getting booked up past October into November, which is really good. We have our upcoming event, October 18th. We're going to give a talk on soil health and the biodynamics between the human body and soil. And it's really important that we understand that dynamics because it's what keeps us healthy. But it's also important to understand the significance of healthy soil. And then we're also going to be talking about PEMF and the power of PEMF to help you heal. And I think we mentioned on the last show that I actually made it into Boston's marathon for 2026, which is pretty amazing since I don't think of myself as being a real marathon runner. I guess after this I will be. But I think it's the impact of putting it all together. You know, eating healthy, exercising, pushing yourself to the extremes, and using those electromagnetic frequency mats. So when we eat, we actually take in the biological or the biochemical compounds to help us build our bodies and strengthen our mind. But our bodies are also made of electrical energy. And so those PEMF mats, and there's many different types. We choose to sell Centropics Cloud, and we also sell the Bubble because it also helps stabilize the human body and get it back into its energetic state so that you're more balanced and synchronized. It helps people with autism and ADHD. The Bubble does. The mat helps build your muscles, decrease inflammation, improve circulation. And it's pretty profound. And I do believe it's impacted my ability to heal and run hard and recover and run again. So we're going to be sharing that on the 18th of October here at the house. So check out, go to shieldoflife.com, sign up for this next come lecture. And we're here at the gardens again. For if you have not seen our food forest in the back, please come and join up. Because we're doing it at the house, we're not going to have as many people. So be one of the first to sign up, and otherwise we'll have a wait list for the next go round.
And you can see where we do the doctors are in every day up in the study. I'll take you up there and show you where I sit at this chair in my underwear most of the time, and just wax poetic on all things medical in Volusia, Flagler, and St. Johns County. I know you guys are all into that.
He's also going to show you the new member of the family called Beta.
Oh my gosh. I got to tell you guys this. Thank you for bringing that up.
I shouldn't have brought it up.
So
this is not medical, but it is helping your pool stay clean.
It's not medical at all, but this thing is absolutely amazing. So we had these leaf filter guards put on the house because I was tired of climbing up a ladder. I'm 61 and I'm getting to that age where climbing up ladders is probably detrimental to my health. I see these, guys, it always amazes me when I see these octogenarians or septuagenarians
getting on the roof.
Well, they're climbing up into a tree with a chainsaw.
Yeah,
and they fall down and they cut a couple of fingers off. And I'm like, dude, what are you thinking? Hire a young guy or a professional to do that. But so, trying to take a little bit of my own advice. We had a couple of gutters that were uncovered. Some of them were covered years ago, but not very well. So I had this outfit come in and put these things that are supposed to be guaranteed for life. It's called leaf filter. And so the guy that came out was very personable, and he saw we had a pool out back, and he starts telling me about this little robot skimmer that he has and how this is the best thing he's ever bought.
He has a beta member of the family too.
He's got a beta robot, BETTA. And so the one he sent me, he sent me the link. It had like at the time, it had like a 4.9, rating, and thousands of people had bought it. And it is a solar powered AI, like robot, that sits on the top of the surface of your pool and goes around and just skims the surface of the pool. This thing has a brain. It doesn't just randomly go around. It actually eventually learns. It's got little cameras in the front, and it kind of figures out the layout of your pool. And after it goes around cleaning up the pool, it goes and parks itself right in front of the skimmer. I thought the thing was, retarded at first, because it kept, after the pool would come on, it would just sit right in front of the skimmer. I'm like, this thing's ridiculous. It just gets sucked up into the skimmer. And they actually give you a little foam noodle that you cut to size to fit into your skimmer so that the beta doesn't block it. The little robot doesn't block it. It just kind of sits up against it. And I kept pushing it away, and it would come right back up there. And I finally figured out it wants to be there. It's not that it's getting sucked up into the skimmer, because it would always get it in front of the skimmer, always facing into the flow where the maximum flow was. So instead of all the debris coming into the skimmer, this little robot sucks it up. And so I don't have to go clean out the basket and, the secondary basket and the filter over on the side of the house, because this little robot does it. And it's all solar powered. So what it does is it goes out and it finds the sun, and it sits there and does all this stuff only under solar power, and it's got a battery in it that it stores, energy in. It supposedly runs all night if you let it, but I just let him go to sleep. There's actually a sleep button. He goes to sleep at night, and he just parks himself right next to the edge of the pool. And the next morning, I turn him on again. He starts his little propellers up and goes skimming around the pool and does that all day long. I'm going to name him. I'm so happy with him.
But you named him Beta. I thought it's an
No, Beta is the name that he came from the factory, straight out of Wuhan, China.
So you're going to call him Walter?
I don't know.
Well, isn't there that robot, that personalized robot called Walter on that movie? There is a Walter.
Wall-E. You're thinking of Wall-E, right?
Well, we'll call him Walter.
Wall-E. Yeah, that was the Disney movie, Wall-E.
Yeah, Wall-E. Well, we got Walter.
We can call him Wall-E. Or Walter. I don't care. We'll think of something. But I'm telling you guys, this thing is absolutely awesome, because what it does is you don't have to worry about all this. And if it sucks the stuff off of the top, then you have less debris in the bottom of the pool. It even sucked up all of the hair from Biggie, my daughter's dog. Biggie comes over. He's an English cream retriever, and he jumps in the pool and just magically sheds all his hair. It clogs up everything. It's like I take a small animal out of the filter every time he comes over. And all of that hair was in Beta. Beta sucked it all up for me. I love that thing.
Yes, that thing is cool. I have to tell you, it is really cool, the fact that it hovers over the outtake for the skimmer, because it just collects everything. It's just very,
so anything
cool.
that comes near the skimmer before it goes in there. I
swim every morning after I run. I love being able to have a clean surface pool. It's very, very nice.
Thank you, Wally.
Thank you,
or
Wally.
Walter.
I don't know. Wally's kind of cool. I think Wally.
Wally. Thank you, Wally. We're not very original, though. We're borrowing Disney's name for their computer.
Call him Michael. Call him James. Call him Tom. I don't know.
Look, I call him anything I want, right?
There you go.
I wonder if he'll learn.
Anyways, you
name.
Guys got to try it out.
You got to check it out. If I had your cell phone numbers, I would tell you the link.
If you're here on the 18th, we will show you.
Yeah, you'll get to meet Wally. Yeah.
So that's his new name.
Yeah.
So what cool things are happening in your neck of the woods?
Well, I don't know if things are cool, but I mean, there's a lot of great things that are happening in medicine in general. The way we're getting into, we're really figuring out the pathophysiology of disease. And unfortunately, some people, instead of actually taking care of themselves, would rather do something to, correct their bad habits, like the GLP-1 and agonists. But those things have actually done a great job helping people lose weight. I've seen people who have been morbidly obese pretty much their whole adult life, or at least when I've known them, and all of a sudden they're like little skinny minis. It's like, but I don't know what this stuff's going to do long term, because my assumption is it is going to have some, repercussions. But there's also medications that they're using now to mitigate the effects of cancer and other disease processes. We've got things coming down the pike where they're doing these antisense oligonucleotides, where they're actually blocking the transcription of certain portions of your DNA that are producing bad things that are harmful to your health. So, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pike that may really help mitigate disease. I don't think that should supplant taking care of yourself and living your life correctly. I still think there's something to be said for getting out there and exercising daily and eating properly, growing your own food forest and picking your own fruits and vegetables out of the back of your yard like Dr. Andrew over there is doing. But, these things can help you get back on the right track, I think. So I think that part's important. And, as far as interventional is concerned, still kicking it like Van Damme. I mean, we're just in there, doing amazing stuff every day, in my opinion. I mean, the fact that we can treat stroke and pulmonary embolus and all these other things that we previously thought were untreatable, you just kind of waited out and prayed, and hopefully the patient did okay. We can now make an impact on these people's lives and their family members and everyone else involved. I mean, it's a big deal if you go in there and you mitigate the impact of a stroke. I mean, that helps the entire family out, society. I mean, instead of having someone who is now bedridden or requires 24-hour care because, they really can't move one side of their body, that's problematic. And if they can return to some semblance of normalcy, then they're not a burden on themselves, their family, or the healthcare system. So, a lot of great things out there. It's just getting all the right people together in one room and getting that synergy from individuals who want to do the right thing. Because unfortunately, it seems to me with this newer generation, I always hear them throwing out this thing. I think we talked about it in the last show about the life-work balance, which I understand is important, but, you can't have the optimal life, I don't think, early on. You got to pay the piper. When you first get out of training, you got to put your time in. Work-life balance is basically, providing for your family, but having enough time to go spend some vacations with them, getting to know your kids and your wife and your husband and having a good time and building memories together. But then you got to come back and you got to make money so you can go do it again, right? Hopefully, once you've established that relationship, if you've worked hard during your formative years or your younger days in your career, when you finally do get a chance to slow down a little bit, you'll have the fiscal resources to go out and do all the fun things in life. I mean, that's the way I look at a, work-life balance. But I don't think that's the definition of the younger generation. They want to be able to basically work a couple of days a week and use the rest of the time to go live their life.
But I remember when I was going through med school and studying really hard, and I remember sacrificing a lot of time to study just because I had dyslexia. So for me, I felt like I was always studying. I remember feeling anxious about that. Am I doing the right thing? Am I missing something? But the thing is I was such a geek, and I'm still a geek. I love sitting and learning. So as much as I feel frustrated not being able to be with friends and sitting on the beach, I don't like sitting on the beach. I like to be out in the waves and hang out for a bit, but then I got to do something. I'm not a sit around kind of person. So for me, sitting around and reading and learning something was something I enjoyed. So it as much as I worried about not...
That's different.
Yeah, as much as I worried about not being around for people, I prefer to do what I was doing rather than, I don't know, sitting around and drinking beer and hanging out with friends. As much as I like being with my friends, it's just, there's only so much time I can do that.
Yeah. I mean, Andrew, but truth be told, we've got a pretty good life. I mean, we work hard when we're at work.
We put a lot into it. I did. For my whole life, I have to say that I've been, more into academics and learning most of my life. And I sacrificed a lot.
For sure. But you also were afforded the opportunity to be, a mother that was with our kids 4 days a week. You worked at the hospital.
3 days a week, yeah.
No,
yeah, 4 days.
You were there. You only worked 3 days. You were
when I was in the
days.
hospital, we did full time.
Yeah, but that was before we had kids. So you decided when we had kids. So you had the work-life balance, but that takes the mom and the dad working together to do that. And I worked full time so that you could be a mom, and that's how we did that. Yeah. And I think that was important. And you became kind of the keeper of the house, which was the traditional relationship between a husband and a wife. The husband buys a house, the mom makes it a home, right? Raises the family. That's the traditional kind of values that I see, where everyone has a role and basically contributes to the collective success of the family. So we were okay with that, but you can't have both parents both wanting to be the stay-at-home mom. One of them's got to go out and make a living,
or you can't have them both be gone. And then you have a nanny raising your kids and you have no structure in
Exactly.
the
home. So, I don't care. Some person has to go out and make a living. The other one is probably their job is to stay at home with the kids. And I respect that tremendously. And it is a hard job, believe me. I mean, there were times where Andrea was at work and I was home with the two babies, and I was begging to go back to work.
The two monsters at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think women handle, not to be, chauvinistic or sorry. I mean, I think women handle that better than men because, there was only so much I could do. After I fed them, changed their diaper, put them to bed, if they were still crying, I'm like, I'm done. Yeah. And I would just put, I had two incidents. I don't know if I ever talked about this before. Two incidents that I remember where one was with Stevie. And he was just crying inconsolable. I did everything I could. And usually, giving him food, he was fine. But he didn't want anything to do with any of that. So after changing his diaper, feeding him, putting him up into bed, still crying, I went for a walk with him in the stroller. And, I'm sitting there, and as I'm pushing him around, he's just crying. We're in Gainesville. He's just crying in the stroller. And some woman walks by me, and she sees it, and she goes, the baby's crying. I'm like, yes, ma'am. He's been doing that for about 2 hours right now. I'm very aware that he's crying. I go, if you have any other suggestions, I'm happy. I'm all ears here because I don't have anything else to offer. And she just kind of looked at me and walked away. I'm like, yeah, I know the baby's crying. I mean, thank you for your
astute observation.
Your astute observation. And then the next time I had, Juliana, and this story because I was sitting at the same thing. And Juliana was a little more difficult, in my opinion, when she was an infant. So. She was a little harder to satisfy. She was very independent. She didn't like you holding her bottle, doing anything like that. So you had to put the bottle in her mouth and let her grab it. And if you kept your hand on there, she'd slap your hand away. In the middle of the night. I'm like, look, you can go get your own bottle next time. I don't have to be here. I'm okay with you doing all this. And so she was crying inconsolably after I did everything I could. So I'm like, okay, I'm done. So I put her up in her crib and I just shut the door, right? Because I couldn't take it anymore. And I went downstairs and my mother-in-law comes over and she's talking to me about something. And she was a little hard of hearing at that point, but she's like, is the baby crying? I'm like, yeah, well, she's been doing this for, a good half an hour plus. I don't know what else to do. So my mother-in-law goes upstairs and gets Juliana, and she's got her on her shoulder, and she's bringing her down, and she's so upset that she's doing that, and she's just hyperventilating, right? And she's got her head on Nona's shoulder, and she comes downstairs, and Nona's got her and rocking her and telling her it's okay. And so as she's got her, I think it was on her left shoulder, and she's got her head on my mother-in-law's shoulder. And so I turn around, I'm like, Juliana, do you feel better? And Juliana's going, and she opens her eyes and looks at me and moves her head to the other shoulder, right? And then I go around to the other side, and I'm like, Jules, you okay? She looks at me again, would not look at me for
How old was she?
2 days. She was an infant. She couldn't even walk yet.
She had a grudge.
She was
going to remember you and what you did. And that you put her to bed when she wasn't ready to go to bed.
For 2 days. Wouldn't look at me. It was amazing. I'm like, geez, Louise, someone holds a grudge here. All right, we've been talking too much, so we got to take a quick break. If you have any questions for myself or Dr. Andrea, you can email us at the Doctor's In, DOCTORISIN at WNZF.com. You're listening to The Doctor Is In on WNZF News Radio, 1550 AM, 94.9 FM. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment.
Radiology Associates has been a trusted name in Volusia, Flagler, and St. Johns County for over 50 years. Radiology Associates is the first and only radiology provider to bring our neighbors of Flagler County 3 Tesla MRI, 64-slice CT, and time-of-flight PET CT in our Palm Coast Imaging and Town Center Imaging locations. This is our community. Our doctors live here and strive to provide only the best care to you, our neighbors. For more information about Radiology Associates, visit us online at radiologyassociatesimaging.com.
Thank you so much for recommending us to your family and friends. When you need a 30, 60, or 90-minute massage, it's real easy to book your appointment online. MassageByNatalie.org. MassageByNatalie.org.
Are you wondering if that old paint in your garage is still any good?
Bring it in. We'll let you know.
And while you're at it, if you need to match a color,
chip off some paint and bring it in.
Our color matching is unmatched.
Benjamin Moore, corner of Old Kings and Utility Drive,
Palm Coast.
And we're back. For those of you just joining us, we didn't talk a lot about medicine this morning.
Yeah, we talked about work-life balance.
We talked about work-life balance and my new awesome beta computer.
And our event on the 18th of October, which we hope you guys come and see and be a part of.
Yeah, so the Shield of Life event.
You gotta sign up at shieldoflife.com.
And Andrea getting into Boston Marathon. And then, of course, our experience as young parents and raising our kids.
And we talk about work-life balance. And so, you know, we all have to create that. And it's important that we don't just make our days full of work, that we do spend some times with our spouses and with our children and with our friends and have a balance and listen and get to know the people that we love, because sometimes they're not there forever. And sometimes it's easy to get caught up in our own world, spend a lot of time by ourselves or with our friends, and we forget the significant others in our lives, or our families, our kids, our parents, our siblings. You know, it's interesting. One of the reasons that I started running more with my brothers this past year is that my sister and I would see each other all the time. And in the beginning of January, I always like to tell my clients about making New Year's resolutions. And we talk about when you make a New Year's resolution, it shouldn't just be on health. It should be on health, on things at work that you want to mentally stimulate your mind. So projects you may be doing around the house. If you're still not having a job, you may want to create new mental projects that you have to solve problems and think through. I always say we should have physical goals, and then we should have spiritual goals, and we should have family goals, and family/friend goals. And I always try to make time for my immediate family and friends. And I realized after writing them out, and every year I write it out and look at it, I really didn't include my brothers and sisters because they're distant a little bit because they don't live near me. I love them to death. And my sister and I are pretty good about seeing each other at least once or twice a year. But my brothers and I weren't. And so I had a prayer. I said, God, help me figure out where we can get together more. So I signed up for a race near them. And then, and told my brothers about my prayer. And my sister's like, well, I'm going to come. We'll go do the race together, and we'll all four of us be together. One of the reasons we started running was that my brothers were doing marathons. And when my mom died, we figured we wouldn't see each other if we didn't make plans, because all of us are in the healthcare profession, physician or dentist. And so we figured if we made a plan at a race, we're probably likely to show up. So that's how we started doing this when my mom died in 2013. And that's when I started running half marathons, even though I hated running, which is kind of funny that I got into Boston my third time. But so anyways, so over the last year and a half, it just is a series of, my brother met me at a marathon, my girlfriend's 50th birthday marathon, which was my third marathon. And it was close by to him. And then the other brother was like, I can't believe, she made it. She qualified for Boston. And then now we've been running a lot more together in this last year because of that in preparations for potentially getting into Boston. So we all made it, which is miraculous. Truly, I think we make the Guinness World Book of Record. And I mean that because I don't think there's ever been a race where they've had more than 2 family members run it at the same time in Boston, that is. So, but that was my work-life balance for my family. So I think we should look at goals for our family, for our personal life. One of the things I tell my clients to do is in the beginning of the year, put in your calendar 3 or 4 days where you just don't have anything scheduled. Block days, random block days every month where you just give yourself off. And whether you use them for a mental health day, whether you use it to get out of town with your significant other as a surprise, whether you do it for a spiritual day to find, take a moment to walk with God. We all need to realize that we're going to die one day, and we have to face the reality of what does that look like and what do we believe? And it's important to figure that out before that happens. And so those random days not only give you a break from work, a break from your family, sometimes you just take off and spend some time by yourself to think about life and what I want and to rethink putting the gauge on where I'm at and everything. That's so important to do so that we remember to reflect on, am I working my best? Am I fair to my colleagues and my coworkers and my family if I'm not working? Am I being thoughtful and respectful? Am I living the life? If God's looking down at me, is he going to say, I'm proud of you? Am I being a good steward to my family, my extended family outside of my immediate family, and even the earth and to the world around us? Unfortunately, we get all upset and tied up into things, and we get opinionated and we forget to listen to each other. So hopefully today's discussion will bring some of that reflection into your life to bring you into a more mindful state to help you provide you with a thought of work-life balance and with life balance.
All right. Those are awesome words. And now, locally, it's about 9 o'clock, so it's about an hour and a half past my bedtime, right, Pumpkin?
I would say.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I think you're turning into a pumpkin.
I know.
The carriage is coming. The carriage is coming for Cinderella.
I'm fading really quick here. When Andrea tells me, every time she goes, we got to do a radio show. I'm like, Andrea, why do you always do this when I'm about to climb into bed? But anyway, we're going to wrap things up a little bit early here because I can't even concentrate anymore. All right? And these feet aren't going to rub themselves. Andrea's got to do that for me before she heads out of town. So
that's my work-life balance.
That's your work-life balance there,
he's
girl.
Assigned to me.
And I know you can't wait for this.
If I can program Walter to come in the house and just start
Wally. Look, I don't care who rubs my feet. Wally can rub my toes if he figures out how to do it.
I have to put some soft things on there.
Yeah, those little
between the toes.
Those little things that he's got to suck up things off the surface of my pool, I think would leave marks on my toes. So
you might get cupping going on your feet.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. All right, guys. Well, if you have any questions for myself or Dr. Andrew, as always, you can email us at the doctors and doctorisin@WNZF.com. Stay happy. Stay healthy. We'll see you next time. The doctors are out.